This is happening right now in Sicily. 1,500 people have been forced from their homes. Entire neighborhoods are literally hanging on the edge of a cliff. Cars and buildings are being swallowed by the earth, and it is getting worse by the hour. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into the unfolding disaster in Medicane, Sicily, where an entire community is watching their town disappear into the ground. So let's start with the facts. What is actually happening in Medicane? This small Sicilian town, perched on a hill with about 15,000 residents, is facing a catastrophic landslide. We are not talking about a small section of hillside giving way. We are talking about 4 kilometers of ground that has slid downward. Think about that for a second. 4 kilometers. That is nearly 2.5 miles of earth just moving. It started on Sunday, and by now the damage is staggering. Houses that were once on stable ground now sit on the edge of a 25-meter-high cliff that is about 8 stories high, that did not even exist before the landslide began. Some homes are already gone, swept away. Cars, too, just vanished into the ravine below. 3 entire neighborhoods are now in the danger zone. Any house within 150 meters of the newly formed cliff has been evacuated. That's about 1,500 people, including families, elderly residents, and children, all forced to leave their homes with just hours to pack their most important belongings. Right now, they are staying with relatives or sheltering in sports halls, not knowing if they will ever see their homes again. And here is the terrifying part. Experts believe it is going to get worse. Emergency services are warning that any building within 50 meters of the current cliff edge could collapse at any moment. The ground is unstable, and it is still moving. Now you might be wondering what caused this. Was this just a random geological event, or is there something bigger at play here? The answer is both sobering and concerning. This landslide was triggered by Cyclone Harry, an intense storm system that swept across southern Italy last week. And yes, before you ask, this kind of extreme weather event is connected to our changing climate. Cyclone Harry brought devastating rainfall to Sicily, Sardinia, and Calabria. We are talking about the kind of downpour that saturates the ground completely, turning stable soil into a waterlogged, unstable mass. When you get that much water dumped onto hillside terrain in a short period, the soil cannot absorb it fast enough. The water seeps between layers of earth and rock, acting like a lubricant. Suddenly, the force of gravity has an easier job, and massive amounts of earth start to slide. But here's the climate connection. The Mediterranean region is experiencing more frequent and intense cyclones. Scientists have been warning about this for years. As global temperatures rise, the atmosphere holds more moisture. When storms form, they are more intense. The rain is heavier. The winds are stronger. Off the coast of Calabria, waves reached over 9 meters high, nearly 30 feet, and wind speeds hit 110 kilometers per hour. These are not normal weather patterns for this region, and Sicily's geography makes it particularly vulnerable. The island has steep terrain, often with loose or clay-rich soils that become unstable when saturated. Add in deforestation, urban development on hillsides, and aging infrastructure, and you have a recipe for disaster when extreme weather strikes. The damage from Cyclone Harry across the region is estimated at 740 million euros so far, and that number is expected to rise as more assessments are completed. Let's talk about what this means for the people of Medicane. Imagine this. You have built your life in this town. Maybe you were born here. Maybe you bought your dream home here. And in a matter of days, it is all gone, or hanging literally on the edge of destruction. One evacuated resident told reporters, "I bought my house last year. Today I do not know what will happen to it." Just think about that. A lifetime of savings, a fresh start, gone in an instant through no fault of your own. The town's daily life has ground to a halt. All schools are closed indefinitely. 2 of the 3 main access roads into Medicane, are blocked by the landslide, cutting off crucial connections to the outside world. Families were given only a brief window to grab their most essential belongings before evacuating. What do you take? Photo albums? Important documents? Medication? You cannot take furniture. You cannot take your memories embedded in those walls. And the cruel uncertainty. Italian emergency services officials have stated publicly that some of these families may never be able to return to their homes. The ground is simply too unstable. Their neighborhoods might be declared permanently uninhabitable. Beyond Niscemi, the cyclone destroyed sections of important railway lines on Sicily and caused extensive damage across Sardinia and Calabria. This is a regional disaster, not just a local one. So what's next? Is the danger over? Unfortunately, no. Not by a long shot. Emergency teams are monitoring the area around the clock because they expect the landslide to continue expanding. The ground is still saturated, still unstable. More homes could be lost at any time. There is also the risk of secondary landslides in other parts of Sicily, where the ground was similarly weakened by the cyclone's rainfall. Engineers and geologists are working to assess other vulnerable areas, but with 4 kilometers already affected in Niscemi alone, the scope of potential danger is enormous. Infrastructure damage is another major concern. When a railway line is compromised, when major roads are blocked, when entire neighborhoods become inaccessible, the economic and social impacts ripple outward. Here is something most people do not think about. What happens to the land downhill from the slide? All that displaced earth has to go somewhere. It can dam up rivers, create flood risks, destroy agricultural land, and damage property far from the original slide zone. This disaster is far from over. This brings us to a critical question. Why does Sicily seem particularly prone to these disasters? First, there is the geography. Sicily is a mountainous island with diverse geology, including the very active volcano Mount Etna. The terrain is steep, and much of the soil is clay-rich or loose sedimentary material. When water saturates these soils, they lose cohesion quickly. Second, there is centuries of human modification. Deforestation, terracing for agriculture, and hillside construction have all altered the natural landscape. Trees and vegetation that once helped stabilize slopes with their root systems are gone in many areas. Third, Sicily's position in the Mediterranean makes it vulnerable to intense weather systems coming from multiple directions, from North Africa, from the Atlantic, and from the east. And fourth, and this is crucial, climate change is intensifying the Mediterranean's weather extremes. The region is warming faster than the global average. Droughts are longer and more severe. But when rain comes, it comes in torrents. It's a perfect storm of natural vulnerability and human-amplified risk. So what can be done? Communities need better, early warning systems. Land use planning must account for landslide risk. Infrastructure needs to be more resilient. And ultimately, we need to address the root cause, our changing climate that is making extreme weather events more frequent and severe. For the people of Niscemi, the immediate future is uncertain. They are displaced, worried, and facing the possibility of never returning home. But they are also resilient. Sicily has weathered storms, eruptions, earthquakes, and invasions for thousands of years. This community will rebuild. The question is, will we learn from disasters like this and take the necessary steps to prevent the next one? Have you experienced extreme weather in your area? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this video informative, please hit that like button and subscribe for more coverage of climate-related events and natural disasters around the world. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.